Welcome to the Gourds and Pomegranates podcast, talking common sense for church communications. Here's Hannah and Joe.
So we're really pleased to be joined today by a special guest called Gavin, who is from something called ChurchSuite, which you might have heard of. ChurchSuite is a church management system. It does lots of things beyond communication, and we're going to cover all of that later. But first of all, Gavin will know that we've got some questions to ask to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, my very important questions that need to get answered first. So the first thing is, what is your favourite biscuit?
It's hard, but you know, I reckon that a Tunnock's caramel wafer biscuit, like that's got to be right up there.
Yes.
If I'm in Sainsbury's or something, I'm going there.
That's verging on cake territory, isn't it? Like, it's definitely a biscuit. I'm not like Jaffa cake,
let's not go
it's
Jaffa
getting
cake
there.
territory.
It's getting there.
Oh yeah, do love the Tunnock's. Either one, the tea cake or the caramel finger.
I'm gonna have to say the tea cake is inferior to the caramel finger. It's
definitely a cake.
Yeah,
No, but it's not though, because it's chocolate and marshmallow.
It's
and
in the
a little
name.
bit of biscuit at the bottom.
No, it's all about that.
Half an hour
caramel
of biscuit chat later.
Yeah. What is your favourite social platform?
Oh, I really struggle with social platforms, if I'm honest. I go to different platforms for different things. So I go to Facebook for groups and communicating with different people, kind of interacting on a wider basis. I go to I refuse to call it X. I go to Twitter for tech news and design stuff. And even though I don't like the direction it's kind of headed, I get something different there to anywhere else. And I go to Instagram because actually I feel connected more with friends and stuff like they're doing with their families, those kind of things. So I wouldn't say I've got a favourite. I use them differently in different ways, I'd say.
No, I like that. Do you have any favourite podcasts? Any regulars that you tune into each week?
Not weekly. My favourite podcasts are all linked around kind of leadership and business kind of things. That's what I love getting from podcasts. So you may have heard of Working Genius, which is a kind of a personality type tool from a guy called Patrick Lencioni in the Table Group. The Working Genius podcast is brilliant, and I fully endorse the Working Genius tool. That is amazing. But then I also, I love the likes of Craig Rochelle and his leadership podcast. Andy Stanley has done stuff in the past as well. So those are the kind of things that I devour. I mostly consume content, less about entertainment and more about kind of help me grow, I guess.
And I know that you are close with your namesake, Gavin from Church Office podcast as well, so shout them up.
Absolutely. When Gav and I have been on podcasts together, it is a bit confusing when it's like it's Gavin and Gavin. And in fact, funnily enough, someone emailed me the other day. Someone I didn't know that was a mutual connection with Gav. Someone from Australia emailed me saying, "I'm so sorry, I meant to send this email to you 6 weeks ago, but I sent it to Gav Smith." And I was like, "Oh, I have no idea you knew him." But that's all
both
good.
Organisations for the church in the name as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And the final question: gourd or pomegranate?
I mean, such a great question, and. If I'm honest, I had to Google what a gourd was, so therefore,
that's still a great question.
Therefore, I'm firmly pomegranate territory because I know that I've had pomegranate in my life.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, gourds do count under like courgette, marrow, pumpkin, butternut squash and stuff. So I think you've probably had plenty. Well,
yeah,
most
I guess
people have had plenty.
I guess it's the labelling of gourd that I was unfamiliar with, but. Yeah, simply because it's A or B, therefore it's pomegranate.
Yeah, fair enough.
We asked the deep questions.
Yeah. So to get started then with the serious questions, can you give us a bit of a history of your career and background?
So I guess it kind of, for me, starts around about age 14. I started building websites, so we're kind of late 90s. And I just there was something in my head of I want to have a website. I want a website on the public web.
We're talking Dreamweaver.
Pre-Dreamweaver, and this
really?
was yeah. So this was Was it Microsoft Front Page? That might have been the first tool I used, and then Dreamweaver came along. But by then I'd already migrated to just writing stuff purely in Notepad myself. I was hardcore, like show me the black and white text.
It's going all over my head.
No one really wants to know about that. But no, there was just something within me that was like, I want to build a website and I want it on the web. And so I started just doing that purely for pleasure and for fun. Ended up doing some work experience for someone, built the website for them. They went to a customer of theirs who said, we love your website, how can you do that? And so as like a 14, 15-year-old, suddenly I was building commercial websites. Oh, wow. And my passion for just the web and development and all that kind of stuff grew from there. I ended up through like picking up commercial web contracts, put myself through a gap year, and then it funding my way through university. So I came to Nottingham for university and did a computer science degree here. But whilst I was here, I just fell in love with my local church, and so ended up staying in Nottingham to do the discipleship year at the church here. And then alongside kind of picking up, I guess, responsibility for pastoral kind of things like running ministries and being involved in kids' work and stuff like that, I also started building out internal systems for the church. And that ultimately is kind of the origins of ChurchSuite. Like initially it was just this system I built for my church. But a few other churches kind of heard, oh, they've got something that's working quite well. And so there were a few years where I was like trying to get other churches to be able to use this thing that was only ever designed to be for my church. But basically, I think God had placed it on my heart in that time period that I needed to I needed to create something that would work for more than just my church. And so roll on to like Easter Sunday 2011 is kind of when the first bit of code that is now ChurchSuite was written, and it was very much okay. I've just felt like compelled by God that I needed to use the skills He'd given me to build this thing, and I never knew what was going to happen from it. But that's kind of where ChurchSuite came from, and now we're 14, 15 years further on, and it's kind of grown and snowballed from there.
That's amazing. And I mean, I wasn't familiar quite that far back, but my church stand in Bournemouth was using it when it was back called Church App. So that I'm not sure, when did that change happen? When did the name change happen?
Oh, around about 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit later.
Before that. Maybe it's sort of 2011, that sort of thing. And then having moved church and then now come onto the staff team at the church that I'm at now, coming back to ChurchSuite, I'm like, whoa, this has changed a lot. But then it had been like 10 years, almost 15 years, I suppose. So do you want to just explain a little bit about what ChurchSuite is and how churches use it?
Yeah, so, I mean, all churches face similar kinds of problems. And some of those problems will include we need a way to store people's details so that we can communicate with them. Some of those problems include we need to organise people onto different rotas and know who's going to be doing what for this Sunday. We need to be able to receive donations online or through the bank and then be able to claim gift aid against those different things. We need to be able to organise events and know who's going to turn up. We need to be able to do all those kind of different things. And so essentially what we're trying to create with ChurchSuite is a platform that helps people do all of those different things. Not everyone has the same needs. Like the church plant that doesn't own its own building doesn't have the same needs as a more established church that wants to rent out rooms to scout groups and external groups and those kind of things. And so we've built a modular system that allows churches to choose the different bits of functionality that they need and kind of tailor a package that fits their budget and their kind of requirements of functionality to hopefully provide a rich kind of suite of tooling to make organisation and administration within church easier, but also to make sure that we don't have disconnected systems of, X person is responsible for that, and they've got their own silo of information over there, and someone else has got their own silo of information there, and then things just kind of get complicated and what have you. So we're trying to build a suite of tools that churches can use from this kind of central location, but that hopefully serves the church and helps make organisation and administration easy so that church can get on with the job of mission rather than having to do lots of administration.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you can sort of opt into the different modules that you do or don't need, but the pricing is also based on church size as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so the two variables are how many people are you storing in there, because that's going to have an impact on how many emails you're sending and how much traffic we need to deal with to our servers and those kind of things. But also then the other variable is which different modules of functionality are you interested in. So you're only ever paying for basically what you're going to be using, rather than having to buy into something and being like, oh, this feels really good, but we only need 20% of it and it feels like kind of wastage. So yeah, those two variables play in.
Yeah. I mean, churches aren't necessarily very good with change, and particularly when that involves tech as well. Have you found that churches are generally like getting the idea, or is it still a hard sell, not necessarily to say use ChurchSuite, but to say use any sort of tool for this at all, like thinking about tech in the way that you communicate and organise people?
Yeah, so I think when we started, it was quite a hard sell. There were the newer churches, so literally churches who were planting or who were only a few years old, they tended to be, back in 2011, 2012, but they tended to be the ones who were like, this is what we need to help us move forward. And then the more established churches kind of were taking a bit more time to get there.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Like you almost think it would be the opposite, and yet actually the smaller church plants are probably more early adopters on stuff anyway. And even if the large churches are probably more in need of a system and loads of processes, they have some of that in place already, even if it's completely ineffective. But like at that point, they'd really developed it to the point they needed it to be. Yeah,
I think as a plant, there's a degree to which you're like, anything that frees me up to spend more time pastoring is gonna help the mission. Whereas a more established church has already got administrators and various different people, kind of ministry assistants, whatever kind of labelling we want to place on those kind of roles. They've already got those people employed to help kind of run the ship and smooth things out. And there can possibly be a threat, in a more established church, that if someone has been doing a 5-day-a-week job and then someone turns around and says, I can make your job so much simpler, you only need to spend 2 days a week on it, you're like, oh gosh, what's going to happen to the other 3 days of my week? You're like, so I think a whole wide variety of different factors kind of came into play over who were the early adopters of ChurchSuite and who weren't. But I think where we are now, there's a broad acceptance that actually these kind of tools can really make a significant difference to ministry, and certainly within the kind of the church planting movement that I'm a part of, no one would dream basically of starting out without having a system, either just knowing when we get to 20 people or whatever, when we get to whatever that kind of thing might be, we will need to bring in a system, and it's going to be ChurchSuite, because I think people starting out now know where they're going to be heading, and they know that basically software can really help lighten the load as they get about doing those things.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So can you, I actually do have a little bit of experience with ChurchSuite, though not from my church level, because we were old school and used like Excel spreadsheets that got emailed out and then became sort of immediately out of date.
But
I had experience. My sort of first proper real usage of it was working with Baptist Association. So we were working from like the slightly bigger level, but it was fascinating to see how adaptable and all the different features. So imagine someone doesn't know about ChurchSuite. They don't know what's going on with it. Can you walk us through the modules, give us an overview of how churches sort of tend to get started with it and how they might use it day to day?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the starting point is always going to be a question of getting your people information into the system. And so everyone needs a database to help store the details of the adults and the children within their church. We've got concerns of things like we want to be able to have good records of when we do children's work or a youth camp or anything like that, who attended, who were the team members, who were the children and youth who were present, so that we've got all of that kind of record there. So we always say, you start with your people, get your adults and your children into the system. And then there's all sorts of different kind of tools around that. So one of the features I really love in ChurchSuite is something we call flows, which kind of helps you take people through some kind of a structured process. Whether that structured process is, I need a DBS, right, okay, I need to give you a form and you need to return it. I then need to send it off. I need to get some clearance. I need to do an ID check. Like there are stages that we need to take people through with that. Or a flow can help you with a membership application process of, okay, you want to become a member, so I need to give you a form you need to fill in. We need to do an interview with the elders. We need to do some kind of acceptance into church membership. We record a key date. And basically, flows help you manage that structured process. And you can do that with any people. So get the people in there, and instantly there are tools that can help you structure those processes and then communicate with email and SMS. There's a calendar module which allows you to put all of your kind of church events into that calendar. You can embed that into your church website. So you add something to ChurchSuite, it instantly shows up on your church website. And people can choose to sign up to those events, whether they're free events or paid events. So, your free events for the Alpha course, you need to know who's coming along to that so that we can cater for people. And then your paid events of, the church youth camp or whatever it might be. Actually, there's a cost that we need to recover in order to be able to put that on. So, ChurchSuite can help with all of that process. There's a bookings module to help you manage rooms and resources. So, renting those out to external organisations, or even just recording that, okay, on a given Sunday there's a wedding in the in the main hall. There's an Alcoholics Anonymous prayer meeting in the church lounge down there, or whatever it might be. You need to know what's booked out. There's a module for small groups, so you can know who's in groups, who's receiving pastoral care from where. And alongside that, you can, if you choose to, you can allow group leaders to record attendance just as a marker, so that you can see, are we effectively pastoring people, but also for safeguarding. Certainly, if you've got vulnerable adults, that's a really important thing to make use of. There's rota management across all sorts of different things, single service or multi-service or whatever it might be, doing all of that. There's a planning module for organising, essentially what is the order that our service is going to run in at our Sunday gatherings, and what are the songs we're going to sing, and how can we make that sheet music or the chord charts available to musicians, and they can transpose music on the fly, and all those kind of things, just to have it all organised into one place. The giving module for recording donations, whether they're coming online. People can make donations by card or direct debit, or just import your bank statement and reclaim gift aid against all of that. And there's probably more. There's an attendance module, and that's all kind of like admin, staff-facing stuff. But for church members, there's the access through the My ChurchSuite interface, which allows a church member to manage all of their own involvement. So I can log on there. If I've changed my email address, I can update that. If I need to note a different allergy or something like that for one of my children, I can do that. If I want to sign up to a rota or subscribe to a feed on my phone so that I get notifications of when I'm rotated on something, I can do that. Sign up to events, all of that kind of stuff. It's all about trying to make sure that both from the church admin side but also the church member side, it's as easy as possible to make that information available, and hopefully that helps to just increase engagement within church life. If you know where to go to find the bit of information you're looking for, hopefully you're going to use it. So Yeah, that's a super quick.
I was really grateful to inherit ChurchSuite when I came into the role. That the chances are it's the sort of thing that I would have been looking at, suggesting if it wasn't already there. And I was so glad that it was, because that initial battle of trying to get people to accept change had already been done. And what it means is now we can start to move along and say, right, well, we're using this module, but could we use it better? Like, could we use it for everything? So, like bookings is an example of that. That some of our bookings were in there, but actually most of the bookings for the venue were handled in external Google Calendars, and we've just recently moved everything across. And then also the processes for just helping people to know what's there. So recently, because we're a growing church, it's getting harder to know everyone and recognize everyone. So we did a big push. We had like a photo booth on a Sunday morning, and encouraged people to have their photos taken so that we could connect it to their ChurchSuite profile. And that is also a really good excuse for those who are there going, oh, I'm not on ChurchSuite yet, to then sign up and actually do it. Yeah, it's all those things that, like, we're using it, but we're also learning to use it better. Yeah. And it's been really encouraging to see the changes that you've made as well, even recently, like with flows and changes to that. That's something which we've been thinking about for a little while, like, oh, we don't really use them, we should. And now it just kind of makes so much more sense visually, seeing it, how it works, that we're really looking forward to implementing that soon.
Oh, brilliant! That's brilliant to hear. Like, one top tip to you, a practice that my church uses is we host newcomer meals. So we invite anyone who's kind of started coming along to the church. I think it's maybe once a month. Sign up to a newcomer meal, come along, and it's at that point that we ask them, can we take a picture of you? Because if we take a picture of you, then our staff members are going to know who you are, and that's going to help us integrate you as well as we possibly can into the church. So getting those pictures early and linking them with that is a great way, because then you're not just looking at data on a row in a database, but actually you're connected. Like the science behind seeing an image of someone and feeling relationally connected there, actually that's what we need. But yeah, the changes with flows and things like that, like, we are constantly listening to our customers and trying to make sure that we're building tools that that help them do the work that they're trying to do. And what's amazing is that, the stuff that we built, so flows have probably been around, 10 years or whatever. But actually every now and then we look at what we've already built and we say, okay, with what we now know, with the extra information and feedback we've been acquiring from customers, is this tool still doing what we intend for it? And if we find that actually there's kind of a disconnect there, then we're like, right, let's put some more time. Let's spend 6 weeks just trying to work out how can we refine that, how can we update that, how can we make it more fit for purpose. And that's just a constant job that we do across the entire system, trying to make sure that hopefully we're serving our customers as well as we possibly can.
Some of the most important ministry work doesn't happen on a stage. It happens in the planning, the payroll, the paperwork.
And that's where stewardship comes in. They're a Christian charity that helps Christians be the best stewards of the resources God gives them. For churches and charities, this means helping them build strong foundations with services like loans, fundraising, payroll, and account support to make gospel work sustainable.
If you're building something for the long haul, let Stewardship help you do it well. Just head to stewardship.org.uk to learn more. I think often we think of comms and church comms as, the flashy bits come to mind. So the website that we've got a lovely design for, or the social media where we can actually show off what's happening at the church. But they're obviously important. But what lessons do you think churches can learn when it comes to the more internal communication and actually keeping our existing church family in the loop with what's going on?
That's an easy question to answer, isn't it? It's such a. I think that's like the grapple that everyone has, isn't it? And I think consistency is one of the biggest things that we can just try and remember. Like, I was talking with a church recently who they had redone their website. They're some friends of mine, and they said to me, "Oh, Gav, can you take a look at this? Tell me what you think." I looked at it and I saw how they had they'd embedded kind of a list of groups from ChurchSuite. They'd embedded a list of events from ChurchSuite. But when I looked at it, it was like, oh, it feels like actually this is quite sparse. So I went back to them. I was like, what's the reason behind not including a description of these different groups? Like I literally don't know I can see lovely pictures of the group leaders, but I don't know what this group's about. And we also,
as churches, we like to have nice random names for groups as well, which we know what means, but no one else does. Yeah.
And so it was one of those little things. I just went back to them. I was like, what is your thinking around this? Is it intentional you've done it this way? And they're like, oh, if I'm honest, like we used to put descriptions on, but then we just stopped, and actually now it's evolved to a place where we just haven't done it for a while. I was like, I feel like that would have really helped me as a brand new person to the church to know what this group's about. And so actually the consistency of every group should have a description. Let's make sure we do that. And then I think there was something similar with events. I was like, why when I look at your calendar, can I only see Sunday events? Have you not got any other events? Like, oh no, we do. We just kind of mention them on a Sunday. I was like, oh, okay. That's great, but I've never been along on a Sunday, so I don't know. And so it touches that thing you were just saying about bookings, Joe. Of actually, we do just need that consistency of, okay, they go into the system, because even though I may know about it, you may know about it, and other people who are like core church members know about it, we don't know who is looking at the website or whatever that has no context of those things. And those are the people we want to essentially say, look, these are all the different things that we're doing, and we want to invite you to come and be part of it. And I think if people know that the website is kept up to date, or my ChurchSuite is kept up to date, then actually it just kind of eliminates that layer of uncertainty of, when is that thing happening? It's a confidence
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's so much time that that kind of we waste of like, that bit of information is not there, I'll text someone, and then they have to text someone, and then if we just do the simple things consistently, I think it creates that base layer on which actually lots of solid things can grow. So and I think sometimes it's that fresh eyes perspective that we need in order to work out what have we let slip here. Hook the latest person to have joined your church and say, look at our website and tell me what do you think doesn't match up with who we are or what we're doing. I think consistency is a really important one. But I've said lots of words there, but I'm kind of also now wondering, have I even answered the question you posed? I can't really remember what it was. What was it?
I mean, first of all, it's interesting that you mentioned about embedding the list, because I remember back in the day, like having to use the API to like get events across and put them into lists on our website, and that's now dead easy, that you can filter lists from the calendar and embed that in there. So that's really cool. Yeah, I think knowing like who is looking and assuming no knowledge is one thing, and then as you say, the certainty of being able to know that if there's an event going on, then this is where I'll find it, and I'll find it in ChurchSuite, but I'll also find it on the website because they're connected together. And that goes for internal and external. I mean, one huge thing with us for ChurchSuite is that we use it for our weekly internal emails, as well as occasional church-wide emails, that you can filter if they're going to everyone, if they're going to members, non-members, like only people who are tagged in a certain way. And we don't have to rely on something external like MailChimp or MailerLite or something like that. So again, it's that thing of being a one-stop shop that... we also then don't have to put our events on Eventbrite because we do sign-ups through ChurchSuite, or as I say, we don't have to use Google Calendars because the bookings are through there. And that also giving that confidence of that one place that people can go to is like the source of truth. That should be the Bible, really, shouldn't it?
It's so encouraging for like us looking at some of the stats of like we send I think it's like 6 or 7 million emails a month on behalf of the churches who use our software. And you're like, oh flip, that's getting some significant usage, and it's so encouraging knowing that it's like, okay, no, what we set out to do to try and make it easy for churches to stay organised and then communicate to people, like those kind of markers, that, and I don't know, it's 300,000 text messages go out a month or something like that as well. You're like, wow, this is people are really using this, and it's encouraging to kind of know that we're playing a part in that. But I think communication and trying to make some of those things even easier is something that we're doing some work on behind the scenes, and I think later on in the year it'll kind of surface. But just trying to make it even easier to be able to say, okay, I'm composing an email, and I want to drag in a block that will automatically pull in all of the events for the next week. But filter them just to the family events or for whatever it is, and just so that you've already got that data in there, so we can help you.
I could see the usefulness of that.
Yeah. So there's lots of exciting things that we've got planned for the coming months along
awesome.
those lines too.
Oh, exciting!
I want to pick up on the text messages quickly. Like, how are churches tending to use that? Because we often, I think SMS in general is probably a bigger thing for churches in America because they've been doing it for so much longer, and we maybe don't think about it as much over here. So we just assume email. But yeah, how are churches using text through ChurchSuite generally?
Oh, see, I disagree with that. I think it's the other way around. Yeah,
Okay.
so like over in the US, SMS just was not a thing for so many years. So many years we had it here, but because it's like a mobile carrier feature, it just literally didn't exist in the States.
They had a whole thing where you had to pay to receive text, didn't they?
All sorts of weird things like that. Yeah. So I think that like texting in the UK, the main ways that I see people using it, because there is an inherent cost, which it'd be wonderful if the network said, "Hey, this thing that is free for us, we're going to pass on for free." That'd be lovely. They don't. But there is an inherent cost. So you have to choose. Okay, what is our kind of most costly communication, if you like? So a classic one would be people getting rota reminders by text message, 2 days out, so that they do not forget. Yes, I am meant to be there, or I need to organise a swap. Like when people don't show up, and they've been put on a rota for something on a Sunday morning, that creates some mild chaos, doesn't it? As we're trying to find who can help us to welcome people on the door. So and so hasn't turned up. So that's a kind of a costly piece of information we do want to communicate. Another classic would be like we had an all church picnic the other day that unfortunately, like, we just had a rain downpour. It was just torrential rain. It was just at the end of that lovely sunshine we had, and so an all church SMS went out to say, actually, unfortunately, we've had to cancel the picnic because we don't want people turning up. So I think it's about we're snowed in, don't come to church, or like key things, rather than broad communication, because you have to factor in the cost. But I think that's always the advice that we give, is like, what if people didn't get this message? Like that's the kind of thing that it's worth paying for. And whereas email does not have a 100% read rate, text messages do. So you can basically guarantee your message is going to get read if you send a text. Yeah, but you don't with an email.
And I suppose as well, for if you're sort of saying we may or may not want to use it for internal stuff, but actually we've got a lot of people on ChurchSuite who are kind of on the edge of the church, who aren't like really involved, but we have a key event coming up to get them along to, then text might be a good way to re-engage them as well.
Definitely. And I think with that, that leans into we've got to balance our different communication mediums, don't we, to make sure that actually if we switch and just say we're going to send everything by text, actually people will start ignoring your text messages because there's too many. So there is that kind of that scarcity mentality of, I don't get a message from the church by SMS very frequently, therefore when I do get it, it's important that I read it. And I think that's sometimes,
and that goes for emails as well. Trying to not send too many emails, but also trying to limit it so that if an email is too long that people aren't reading it, then even if they stay subscribed to it, it's not going to do its job anymore. Yeah. But there's also more chance they just go, just forget about it, unsubscribe. But we like to think, they wouldn't possibly unsubscribe from their dear church. No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you get too many messages from anywhere, you're going to unsubscribe.
So thinking sort of more broadly, Is there anything in particular that excites you about the future of church communication? So what's exciting for you, thinking not just within ChurchSuite, but sort of broadly within church, both either in the immediate future, but even longer term? I don't know, something with AI or that seems pretty cool to church.
Well, so there's a text message based technology called RCS that is rolling out. Apple were basically the ones preventing people from being able to effectively use it, because Apple were refusing to build it into to iPhones. But as of last September, that is now built in. And RCS allows you to do more than just send a simple text message. You can actually start to embed links in there or interactive elements, and it basically becomes a leveler that everyone's got a messaging tool on their phones that isn't necessarily WhatsApp, and everyone will be able to receive it and interact. So I think there's going to be some really interesting things coming out on the back of that. It's not kind of hugely widespread at the minute, because not every network carrier has been allowing it, but it's becoming more and more available. So we've been investigating, what are some of the things that we could do? Like, actually, could you just send a text message that is a kind of an accept decline for I'm going to be at that event, or
Nice.
I can serve on Sunday? Some of those kind of things, like, we could make immediate responses even easier if we can leverage those kind of technologies.
And that plays into the balance as well that you said of, like, if you're sending people stuff that's genuinely useful and they can deal with it quickly, then it's less of an annoying, they're nagging me to do something again, and more that's done.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's all about trying to work out, okay, there's loads of great technologies out there, but what's the one that's going to make a material difference to the church member? So that's definitely something. I think the whole world of AI is absolutely fascinating. I look at some of our friends who've planted churches, and as a church planter, they're supposed to be a pastor and a teacher and an administrator, and a graphic designer. If you could also be a social media manager, that'd be wonderful. Can you update the website too? And event organizer. They're meant to carry so many different roles, and I think that there is there's enormous potential in AI and to help to auto-generate certain things, like certain images, or just lighten the load of event descriptions, and trying to just create content that is compelling and makes people feel like, I'd like to be part of that, I'd like to go along to that. So there's definitely I think there's a really interesting conversation in that whole thing, isn't there, of like, should we start with nothing and just tell AI, create a persona for my church, or should you start with your vision and say, actually, okay, this is what I want to communicate within. These are our values, and AI becomes kind of a step that we can step from, or where do you want it to be the basis from? So I think there's lots of exciting potential there to make work a little bit easier for people. So those are a couple of things I'd say.
That's cool. And then kind of in line with this, what's the future for ChurchSuite?
The future's exciting. It's really exciting. I think even just so we've got a team of I think 27 who are working on ChurchSuite, and by God's grace we just continue growing. More and more churches are using our software, and so the future for us is basically like, okay, God continues being unbelievably faithful and generous towards us, so we want to continue doing that, and giving of ourselves to build that out. So we're hiring more people, there's all sorts of different features and ideas that we're exploring. There's
I don't want to ask how many things are on your upcoming suggested, definitely not feature list for the future, like the proposed changelog and stuff. It must be a nightmare managing that many people.
Well, yes and no. Well, what we've done is where we've landed is we work in kind of project cycles of 6 weeks, and so at the start of the year, I set out a vision of a few key things that we want to try and do. So this year we're spending a lot of time working in the planning module, and just really making a load of updates, improvements, and kind of loads of our catchphrase is "Make planning loved." We want people to use it and be like, "Oh, this is helping me. I really enjoy it. I enjoy using this." That's what we're aiming for. We're doing a whole load of stuff.
We trialed it recently for like a more complex service, and the feedback I got was, we love the red line that goes down that shows you whether you're ahead or behind schedule.
Well, I'm pleased to have delivered there.
I'm not sure that the pastor would appreciate it if he saw that during his preaching, but
yeah, there's no connection to the video fold back monitors and flashing, get off. There's none of that. So like loads of stuff in planning, and we're doing some big updates in the rotors module at the moment as well. But yeah, with the 6-week cycle, we're basically asking that question. Okay, right now, in order to deliver on the targets that we've got for delivering new functionality over the course of the 12 months, alongside the feedback we've been hearing recently from customers, what are the 4 or 5 different things that we want to work on over the next 6 weeks? And we do that, and we just ask that question every 8 weeks, so that there are some things that we've committed to. Yep, we are definitely going to be doing that, but we try and keep those relatively few, because there have certainly been things that we have thought were going to be important, but actually that was probably just us getting carried away with ideas. And the real test is when we deliver something to our customers, are they asking us for that next thing? Or actually was that just us being enthused by technology and thinking, wouldn't it be super cool? Whereas actually the reality is, it'd be great if you could do something else. So we try and remain as agile as possible within that.
Cool.
And the difficulty is that like something that you get excited about for your church could be of absolutely no relevance to every other church in the country, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And yet it could be a complete game changer for your church. Yeah, so it's a hard balance. But
completely. Like there are some brilliant things that some churches do, but so like prayer triplets. Love that, brilliant. And some churches have a real focus on, we want everyone to be in a prayer triplet. I love the heart behind that. But if we built a tool into ChurchSuite specifically focused around that, actually that's going to not fit the culture and the practice of thousands of the churches that that use our software. And it's like, they'll then be looking at that feature being like, just ignore that. There's no point there. It's like, no, we want to try and work out how can we deliver as much value and as much benefit to as many churches as possible with everything that we do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure we could talk for hours about the organisation, and obviously the key to what we talk about here, the comms of working with churches. But to bring us into land, like if people want to find out more about ChurchSuite, if they want to sign up, and like how do you get started with that? Where would we find you?
So our website, churchsuite.com. Don't go thinking that we're SWEET, churchsuite.com, ChurchSuite. And you can find out loads of information there. So there's a free trial there. There are online webinars that we run. There's loads of like support videos and resources. So if you just want to get a feel for the product, going to our website, churchsuite.com, is a great place. And we've got like an active ChurchSuite users group on Facebook. You might want to join that, just see what people are saying. Those are probably good places to start.
Brilliant. Well, we'll link that in the show notes. But Gavin, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been great.
No problem at all. Lovely to meet you guys.
Gourds and Pomegranates is brought to you by Joe Gallant and Hannah Fleming Hill. You can find episode transcripts and contact the show via gppodcast.uk.